Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the time-traveling toy collector, and this is Optimus Prime as he appears in the Buzzworthy Bumblebee Studio Series lines number 102. And this is Optimus Prime as he appears in Transformers Rise of the Beasts. So we have a Studio Series figure. It's a Studio Series figure from the movies, the live-action movies, and it's released as a as a Buzzworthy Bumblebee exclusive. Now that means something different in the US than it does in the UK and in other territories, because the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line has an exclusivity in the US that outside of the US doesn't technically apply, because the shops it's exclusive to. Well, I won't bore you with all that. I'm sure someone else has done far more interesting videos on that than I can do. But just to suffice this, to sort of preface this really, to say, I've not really, other than the Studio Series 86, I've not been a big Studio Series collector. There's a couple of exceptions maybe, but I picked this one up at London Film and Comic Con. If you saw my Toyvolution Part 3 video, you'll have seen this already. Not in any kind of starring role, but as part of the haul from London Film and Comic Con. So if you've not seen that video, go and take a look. I was chatting quite a bit about my relationship with toy collecting and with certain toys and the whys and wherefores of it. Before I go too deeply into this figure and what you're getting here, it would be great if you'd like the video, because that's a huge boost for the channel and also for my ego. But also, whilst you're there, do subscribe, please. It's a tiny click for you and a giant step forward for the channel. And you're not committing to watching every single video. Goodness me, not by a long chalk. But it at least means that you don't miss anything that you might like that could come up in the future. So here we have Studio Series Transformers Optimus Prime. I nearly said Studio Series 86 there, that's why there was this huge pause. But this isn't. This is Buzzworthy Bumblebee. So let's take a quick look at the Buzzworthy Bumblebee packaging. Disappointingly, and I don't say that lightly, the artwork on the box, you know, it's nice enough, but it doesn't really give us that flair that we're accustomed to with Studio Series, certainly Studio Series 86. Here's the product shot on the rear of the box, pretty much showing you Optimus in the two modes as he appears excuse me, within Rise of the Beasts. Let me just line that back up for you. Jiggledy. So there's not too much going on in the packaging, to be perfectly honest. I have, as you can see, already taken out the Studio Series backdrop. That is one of the nice things that you do get as part of the Studio Series collection, which is this sort of diorama for presentation. And the figure, of course, can stand on there in his robot mode and look all majestic and hero-esque. And that's lovely. And why wouldn't you want that? Of course you would. So let's get down to the main event, and that is the Studio Series Optimus Prime. Now, as I've mentioned, you may have picked up on it, not a big collector of these figures. I think I picked up a couple when they first came out, when the very first Transformers movie came out. And I don't think I was that impressed. I can't remember what it was about it that made me not like it. I think one of them was the Optimus Prime, actually. And it wasn't a bad figure. I think there was something around, and this is going to be a terrible admission, but I think it was something around the transformation. I think I was accustomed to an Optimus Prime that you just sort of squeak, twiddle, flap, fold, bend, and there you had your truck mode. And suddenly it was, you know, degree level engineering that required my full attention, which, you know, to be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think I've matured a bit in terms of appreciating the differences now. But I think it kind of put me off for a little while, and I didn't delve too deeply into Transformers at the time. So no one was probably more surprised than I was when at London Film and Comic Con, there I am picking up this figure. But really because I looked at it and I thought, because I do have the Earthrise Optimus Prime, which I like as a figure because it's very G1-y. And this isn't very G1-y, in my opinion, but it is very Optimus Prime-y, which might sound like a bit of a dichotomy, and I'm sorry about that. But he's got lots of lovely posability, so you know you get all of the usual bells and whistles in terms of posability, wrist, shoulders, biceps, elbows, hips, knees and toes, and a nicely posable wibbly wobbly head. You also get this lovely multi-positionable sword, so you can have him holding it in his hands. It can tab into this slot here, so he's got that kind of look there with it's coming out the side of it. It's coming out of his arm, which is nice. You can take that one step further rather, and tab it literally into the side of his arm there if you wished, like that. So he looks a little bit like Scourge, new Scourge, not old Scourge, obviously. So you can have that look as well, which I like, and you can store it. If I remember rightly, that port's a bit loose, but you can probably pop it here. Will it stick there? Probably will. So you can have his sword in his back. He comes with a little hand blaster. Well, I say hand blaster. A blaster that replaces his hand. I've popped it on his shoulder here for storage. There's probably somewhere better to put it, but I couldn't really find it, and I did try. But I've got to say, if you're looking for review videos, you've probably seen tons of review videos for this figure already, so I won't sort of embarrass you or myself by taking you through a full review of this. This is more my experience of this figure, and I have loved messing with it. I have loved holding it. Sometimes you get a figure and you think, oh my goodness, that's very kind of for display purposes only, or it's very not. It's very flimsy and fragile, and you think it needs to stay in its box. This figure, along with its counterpart, which I will do a video of in the very near future, it's beautiful. It's a lovely figure to mess with. I think it may have overtaken my Optimus Prime passion for the Earthrise one, which is the one that I've probably messed with the most, aside from my very own G1 Optimus Prime. I really have loved this figure. I've not transformed him yet, because I do tend to wait until I do these videos to do the very first transformation, just so I can give you immediate live-ish feedback on how I found it. I don't do the video, for those who are unfamiliar, I don't do the video of the transformation because one thing, YouTube doesn't really like you to swear that much, and I can tell you now, in my experience of doing some modern transformations, I do tend to swear quite a lot. Usually at myself, because it's my own sausage fingers that cause the problems, but actually sometimes it's the figure, and the instructions make me think, am I doing this right? I'm always worried I'm going to break something, so I'm overly cautious. So I don't want to give you that experience, because nobody needs to see that. I will give you just a little bit of a look around the back, and this figure is so beautifully sculpted. There's not really any hollow parts on display. And again, I come from, I grew up in the 80s, the 70s and the 80s, so for me, hollow parts were par for the course, or just great big chunky bits that didn't really move. Whereas what we have here is, I think, it's possibly, for me, one of the most perfect looking Optimus Primes, and it's very much like the actual, which of course is the selling point of the Studio Series. I get that. But it's very screen accurate to Rise of the Beasts. Yeah, I really like it. I like it so much more than I thought. And from the pictures, I think I'm going to like vehicle mode, but as I say, I've held off doing that till I got around to actually shooting this video. But it really reconnected my passion for Prime, as it were, as a figure. And I didn't expect that to happen in sort of the, I won't say mainline, but the mainline Studio Series. As I say, the only series of Transformers figures I've routinely collected since I restarted collecting Transformers has been Studio Series 86, with a few dabbles into the War for Cybertron trilogy, where I've seen characters that are very G1-y, and I was going, oh, this is great. I can recapture my G1 youthful excitement, only to discover some of those are being reproduced or have subsequently been reproduced in Studio Series the main range, Studio Series 86, sorry. So I do wonder if we will see a Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime somewhere down the line. It kind of feels inevitable, but what that will look like and how it will improve on some of the other Optimuses that we have, who knows? But we're not here to talk about that. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. We're here to talk about this, and again, I love the detailing. I love the chest. I love the face sculpt. It's really good. I'm trying to see if you can see the eyes. Not so much, actually. Even if I zoomed in, you probably wouldn't get to see them too much. The face is the head's just not that big enough to allow for that much detail effectively. But I love all the detailing here, all the arms, the way it's filled in. It's nicely done with the panels, the coloration here, the deviation from the sort of plastic grey to the slightly painted metallic gunmetal grey here. We do get a bit of a nice abs crunch there, probably due to transformation, but you know, whether it is or it isn't. Some nice rotation in the legs, very, very poseable legs, very poseable arms. This is a figure that has come to play, and to play hard. And I love it. I'm here for that. I'm very much here for this figure. I love it very, very much. I'm going to transform it into robot mode now, so give me a minute, and then we shall discuss how good that transformation is and what it's like in vehicle mode. And we'll see whether or not you think this should be a figure that is in your collection. So, don't touch that dial. And here we are. Optimus Prime, all transformed up into his quite familiar truck mode. Now, there's a few things that I like about this. There's a few things that I like less about this. And in terms of the transformation, oh, these keep falling back in. One of the things I like less. They're not particularly stable, and these also like. Now, I may have mistransformed this a little bit. I don't think I have, but I may have done for speed. But I'm having a few connection issues. This front part here of the cab doesn't like to stay in, and I'm not sure what I'm doing with that, because I've checked to see that everything is plugged in, and it kind of is. It just doesn't like to stay there. I think I'd have liked to have seen these in a bit more of a chromey colour. I do have those chromey pens. I just think it would be nice if it sort of matched this, and possibly the same with the stacks here. So yeah, I'll start with what I don't like, and it's here. And I don't think this is unusual, but the rear of the truck is a little bit, I don't know what the rear of the truck is. It's just a little bit. It's a little bit whatever. It's kind of, what is going on here? It's his legs stuck together, and I get that. But I kind of can't help but feel that these bits could have clipped together and somehow filled this in, rather than having his sword just sort of hanging there. There's no way to clip a trailer on there, so you know, it's yeah. It just for me it just lacks a little bit of something. But you know what? I can live with it, because I like his robot mode so much that I'm less bothered about his truck mode. Things tidy away up here. I don't know if I like the grey. I think part of me would have liked that to have been red, so it all or that could have stayed grey maybe because of the vents. But it would have been nice if this was red. This is sort of shades of old school G1 Optimus Prime head on a panel, even though it isn't quite what we've seen here. I do like sort of everything here up front. I like. I think it looks really good. This bit looks really busy, really messy, and really kind of, well, we've got to put his legs somewhere. And you know, fair enough, I get that. I think in terms of the general cab design, it does look really good. Hairy moments in the transformation, I won't lie, it took me, again, longer than I would have liked it to. The head was a bit stiff, so I felt like I was about to rip it off before I was able to fold it into the chest cavity. Some aspects of clipping the leg sections together, especially around here, and getting the arms in. There are some mushroom joints. You can't see them, mercifully, because they're tucked away under these panels, which is very nicely done paneling, thanks to the arms. Very, very good arrangement to cover that up. But one of the flip side of that was that it did feel a bit like something was going to snap. And actually putting these bits together, the expression snapping into place has never been truer. It really hasn't. I really had to press, and I thought, oh, goodness me. But I really had to press, and they did snap into place quite dramatically, to the point where I thought, oh, dear God, what have I done? But it's okay. Be interesting to see if I can transform it back. But I might leave it like this for a little while, just because the stress levels are too high. The wheels, it rolls very nicely. You can't really see it there, but it does roll. If I put it down, I can tilt slightly for you, but it does roll really nicely. I'm very happy with that. Very happy with that indeed. And overall, I think it's really nice. I think this is a cute feature. I think it's, I don't know whether it's by design or it's just an optional extra or a fan mode or whatever you want to call it. But it's nice that these panels, because obviously here, Optimus is kind of in disguise. We get that, yeah? Because there's no Autobot logo. He's driving around, no Autobot logo. Goodness me, it's just a truck. Hey, guess what? We can flip these side panels back up to reveal the Autobot logo. And I really like that. It does expose some of the mechanics here, but you know what? We're living with this. So if we're living with this, we can probably live with that. But if you don't want that old school G1 sort of badge on display, you fold that down, you've got another bit of door, that's all continuous, and it's gone. He's properly in disguise. And yes, I like that. I do like it. I really do. So I get it. So for me, it was a nice transformation. I liked a lot of it. As I say, a few hairy moments. There was some swearing. The official line is that it's 34 transformation points. Yeah, it felt like 34, and it took me probably about 15 minutes to do it. It was the first time I'd done it, so don't roll your eyes and tut. I am, however, rolling my eyes and tutting. It shouldn't have taken me that long. And I'm pretty sure it won't take me that long going back. But it's a chunky toy, it's a nice toy. It rolls really freely. It's got continuity of look. It's very obviously Optimus Prime. It's very obvious, well, I say obviously, but it's evocative of early Optimus Prime. This is disappointing. It does give us storage for both the blade and for the arm cannon, so that's good. But it's just a bit kind of, what are we looking at there? You know, because I honestly don't know what we're looking at there in terms of that back. But, and I don't know if you're noticing now, but this wheel doesn't always connect with the floor. If you tilt it, then it definitely does. So if it was doing something clever like a good old-fashioned 1980s stunt drive, that would work perfectly. But it doesn't always quite connect, and I think that is to do with it's not to do with the levelness of my base. It's just to do with the thing connecting with the ground. But you know what? It is what it is, as people say, and I actually like it. I like it for what it is. As I say, I don't think I'm likely to be displaying him in this mode. I think very, very much so he'll be being displayed in robot mode, where I display him, and where I do toy photography. I mean, I'm going to have a play, and we'll do a few photographs for the end of this video, and then we shall see what he looks like under natural lighting, out in the wild. I'll get some nice shots of him in action out in the wild in both modes, and I'll tag those to the end of the video, as I am prone to do with Transformers toys. So what do you think? Does Rise of the Beasts Studio Series Optimus Prime belong in your collection? as part of the Buzzworthy Bumblebee range? Or have you taken a look at this and gone, yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure. Like the front, but yeah, if this is where the party's at, I don't know what kind of party it is, but I can probably guess. But the business end, very nice, very nicely, very tidy, nicely clipped up together, really, really lovely, and I'm very glad that I've added it to my collection. Maybe you've had a different experience, and if you have, by all means let me know in the comments below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and yeah, let me know whether or not Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime does deserve a slot on your shelf. I'd be fascinated to get your takes. I've seen a couple of other review videos that people have done and transformation tutorials, and it's lovely, and I get it, and they make it look so easy, more or less. But for me, the first time doing it, a couple of hair-raising moments, don't mind admitting. So if you do get it and you do have those hair-raising moments, particularly around the head, particularly around getting some of the arms to tab in, and possibly around getting this to tab in at the front, don't panic. They do happen, and all you need to do is be firm but gentle. Don't snap anything off, but do work it in gently and it will go. I used a pair of little sort of tweezers to help me ease the head panel around so it would go. I wouldn't use excessive force or anything unnecessarily sharp. If you use anything too sharp, you're likely to damage where there's paintwork or create a stress mark on the plastic, so be careful with that. But again, finding something that's gentle to give it a little bit of leverage, not a bad move. Really, really not a bad move, and definitely something I would encourage you to consider if you find it yourself panicking about the quality of your transformation skills. Believe me, it's not your skills, it's the newness of the figure where it is very stiff. There's also some, well, they're mushroom pegs, but it's where the shoulders are, and it looks a bit like it wants you to slide it forwards or backwards. I think it might just slide out of alignment when you move the shoulder pegs around to facilitate the transformation. Again, make sure they are as forward as they can be, or you will not get the transformation that you are expecting to get. That's really something I've not seen come up in anybody's tutorial reviews, so maybe remember that when you come to transform it, because it's very easily done. Excellent. All right, well, thank you for spending the last 20 or so minutes with me. I've been the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You've been a fantastic audience. Do have a look around the channel. There might be something else that you fancy. In the meantime, this has been Studio Series 102 Buzzworthy Bumblebee from Rise of the Beasts, and I hope to see you in a future channel. In a future channel? No, it's the same channel. In a future video. It's way early in the morning and I shouldn't be doing this. I should be asleep. Okay, apologies. I'm going to go and crawl under the duvet now. Take care, and I hope to see you in a future video. And remember that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Bye-bye for now.